Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today you'll all be part of a social experiment. You see, there's this movie that was done by Christopher Nolan, and well, it was outside of the purview of what he usually does. So yeah, we're gonna definitely cover The Dark Knight. A movie starring, well, not me, but rather the voice I am projecting. How are y'all doing, folks? So let's get started. We got Nerd with the Cigar. Kate, good to see you. She's part of the Hat Crew. And we got Neozoic, one of the great archivists of our channel, And we got Vanya, one of the loyals. Good to see you. So, The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan. Before we get started, get serious on that like button, folks. Spread out the share the stream if you can. It helps get the channel noticed. And for some reason, monetization is being held off because, well, my tax information keeps coming back not up to date or whatever, and I just had to fix that earlier. Hopefully, it's enough to get it going. But anyway, yeah. So, yes, get serious on that like button, share it out, and it is The Dark Knight. Let's get this started. Pretty good, just working on, and good enough impression. Why, thank you. So, directed by Christopher Nolan, and this movie is a special and very unique movie because Christopher Nolan doesn't do sequels. He doesn't make sequels. He hasn't since the Batman or the Dark Knight trilogy. And he usually never does sequels ever. So this was a first-time gig for him where he actually did sequels. This was written by David S. Goyer and starring Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, Heath Ledger, the late and great, Morgan Freeman, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Eric Roberts, Dave Dastmalchian, who was who has been seen in Last Voyage of the Demeter, the Ant-Man 1 and 2 movies, and whatnot. And, yeah, he plays a bit part in this. And this movie is a more grounded Batman movie, kind of like the first one was. And, honestly, while a lot of people have their gripes with it, I think that it's actually pretty good. So, without further ado, let's get into this, shall we? First fun fact, David Goyer had planned the Joker to be in the second and third film, and the third film was to introduce Two-Face. Joker was going to scar him during the trial, which is closer to the comic book origin, which is, actually, I think it was a mobster or crime boss, Sal Maroni, actually throws the acid at him, and that scars his face, which was a pretty interesting development in the comics. I don't really watch a lot or read a lot of the comics, but I have seen some of them here and there, so I do know a little bit about Dark Knight and some of the characters. Two-Face happens to be one of my favorite characters in the Batman universe. I mean, yeah, I have the coin. Michael Jai White is also in this. Yep. Good catch, Vanya. So the heist of the mob bank. I mean, this movie starts out with fire. Now, the first one had the bats that made up the Batman logo, and this one has flames that make up the Bat logo. And it's blue flames and whatnot. However, this is what the Joker likes. He is an arsonist as well as a anarchist. He's an anarchic arsonist. There you go. Dark Knight taking influence from the comic books, Batman: The Long Halloween, and The Killing Joke, and Joker's first appearance in Batman #1. Yep. And I actually do like how they did this because Joker was hinted at the end of Batman Begins. And no, I didn't, or I don't think I reviewed this with Kat or with Cult Classic Cage. No. I would like to. I mean, if she was interested, I would have done it, but yeah. Me and her did a 50s movie that she liked. But yes, the Heist of the Mob Bank. I actually really liked the cinematography of how they pick up the Joker, how he's just standing there in the crowd, and then they stop, pick him up, he gets in, puts on his mask and whatnot. It's a very random act. You got 5 people who don't really know, or who are all tasked with killing each other as the heist progresses. But the way that they actually go in and do it was very well done. You also have William Fichtner in this movie. I mean, he's been in so many movies that I've actually liked, where he plays good, bad, in between, and whatnot. One movie I really do like William Fichtner in is Armageddon from Michael Bay, part of the President Anderson duology, or administration duology. Yeah, Joker is AA. LOL. Yeah. And I mean, this movie, the wonderful thing of how they do the Joker thing is that they take a razor blade and they rub it against a wind instrument, or not a wind instrument, but a strings instrument, and they bring it up and up and up, and making it go as higher and higher pitch as possible. And that is basically the theme of the Joker. This lets you know that when it starts playing, the Joker's about to do something. And I really love how they freaking do that, because it's like, hey, this is, or it's kind of like Freddy Krueger. You hear a certain tune, you know Freddy's coming. It's like Jason. You hear that, and you know Jason's coming. You hear this razor blade on a strings, and you know the Joker is coming. Stands without a mask and no one sees him. Well, people see him. They just think he's just being weird, you know? Vanya. But yeah, when they start getting into this bank and the silent alarm is tripped and then goes off, but is disabled. And then one of the guys pops the alarm guy, and then he goes down to work on the vault, and and the Joker, but we don't know it's the Joker yet, is handing people grenades and pulling the pins, making them hold on for dear life so that they don't so that they don't do anything stupid, you know. And you see one of the women actually press the silent alarm before she gets stopped by one of the clowns, so you know that the silent alarm was triggered. And remember, that was a rumor of a non-film deleted scene where Joker was waiting to be picked up. Then the old lady saw his face. Then the Joker gave her money to shut it. Did not know that. And yes, it is one of the best openings in a movie, in your opinion, as well as mine, Kate. So I really do like how William Fichtner just stays calm. He's like, just puts down his glasses. You don't see what he's doing. And then suddenly you see the shotgun blast go off and him getting up, cocking the shotgun, which the Joker takes from him and later uses. The Joker tends to use things opportunistically, and that includes people. So yeah, when he takes, or you see how things start to go wrong for the heist, which the safe guy who plugged the alarm guy just got shocked away from the safe because they wired it with like 5,000 volts, and it's a mob bank. They realize it's like, do you have any idea who you're stealing from? You and your friends are dead. He's out, right? And so I just love it. He's out, yeah. And so he stands up to shoot him. Boom! Where'd you learn to count? It's such a great freaking opening. And the machine pistol that the Joker uses, the fully automatic machine pistol, that is not the sound that a machine pistol makes. That is the sound of a minigun, actually. That's the sound that a minigun actually makes, not a machine pistol. So I like how they did a lot of different sound design for this film. This film does really have a great sound design. It has a great score. I mean, when you got a score from, I think it's Hans Zimmer who does the score for The Dark Knight. Who scored The Dark Knight? Yep, Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard. So, yeah, it was Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard who scored the movie, and they did a wonderful job with it. I mean, folks, when you have sound design and score design and music and whatnot that really conveys the emotion of the scene, it really does a wonderful job. Hold on one second. All right. Sorry, I had a message that I had to respond to. But we then see that one of the guys got wise to what the Joker was planning after he plugs the safecracker, and the score is rad. The big wah gets me every time. Yep. When there's something serious happening, you get that boom, boom, and he's like, "That's a lot of money. If the Joker was smart, he would have had us get a bigger car. I guess the Joker told you to kill me once we stopped loading the cash." No. I killed the bus driver. Bus driver? What bus driver? Then you see the bus coming, and it's like, well, damn, dude freaking called it. Like, perfect timing, too, you know? And then you hear, "School's out, time to go." So the bus driver kills that guy, and it's just freaking great. And he's like, "Where are the rest of the guys?" That gun, boom, kills the bus driver. And, well, that's when Fichtner gets up again. He's like, "Criminals in this town used to believe in something. Honor, respect. Look at you. What do you believe in, huh? What do you believe in?" Oh. He puts in a grenade in the guy's mouth. "I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you," pulls off the mask, "stranger." And then just gets off. Now, as he's going, that grenade is tied to a string that is being untethered from the suit jacket that he's wearing. So as he's walking away, he's getting ready to pull that damn string. He gets on the bus. He looks at the shotgun, throws it on the bus. He's like, all right, basically comes in handy later, you know? Would you compare James Newton Howard's Dark Knight with his other scores, such as King Kong 2005, Sixth Sense, Dinosaur, Space Jam, Hunger Games? He did a good job with Hunger Games. He did a good job with King Kong 05. Sixth Sense, I had never really noticed that score, nor did I notice with Dinosaurs. But Space Jam, the original Space Jam, if he did the original Space Jam, was good. I really did enjoy that. And so then we get the bat signal and now, folks, there's a lot of special features for this movie, because the way that I just interrupted here was because there's things that take place before the movie, like interviews with the mayor, with Harvey Dent in this Gotham thing with Anthony Michael Hall. And you also see that there are other corrupt people that didn't go down with Falcone, or Falcone, however you decide to pronounce it. And you see that Harvey Dent plans on plans on cleaning up the streets and whatnot. And there was one where he's talks with Mike Engel, who was played brilliantly by Anthony Michael Hall, and he's like, or Harvey Dent's being yelled at by a cop who called in. He's like, you investigated these guys and you call yourself a former cop and whatnot. He's like, well, tell me their names and I'll tell you why I investigated them. Tell me their names. Because here's the thing. A lot of them were corrupt. We are trying to clean up the city. We can't have dirty cops in the city doing stuff, you know? So it works very well. And Harvey Dent was a political idealist, and he was doing his best. He's like Gordon. He's one of the uncorrupt. He's one of the non-corrupt. And he's trying his best with what he has in order to clean the city up. And so then we see that the Major Crimes Unit, or MCU, led by Lieutenant Gordon, is now running the investigation on who is the Batman. They also talk about the floodlight on the MCU, which is the bat signal. And I like how whenever he's questioned about it by the news or the media, he's like, maintenance issues, man, or electric rooms. I've been trying to get the janitors, or I've been trying to get the maintenance people in here for weeks, and they still haven't answered, you know? Headcanon, Anthony Michael Hall's character is the adult Brian Johnson brain from Breakfast Club that moves to Gotham City to become a news. Oh, that's good news, Alec. That is good. And I do like how when they show the bat signal, you see people are looking up and they're like, nah, man, I don't like it tonight. What, are you superstitious? You got more or chance of winning the Powerball than running into him. And so you also see some of the mob or the mafia. Now, one of the things that Nolan does very well in his storytelling is that he gives you very obvious hints that are not so obvious, that are actually very subtle. Like when Ramirez goes up to talk to Gordon on the roof with the bat signal going on. It's like, you ever plan on seeing your wife again, Lieutenant? So you know that there's a little bit of strain between Gordon and his wife. And he's like, I thought you had to go look after your mother again, Detective. And the look she has when she says, I checked her back into the hospital, she's just kind of looking up around and whatnot. That says guilty conscience. There's something guilty. There's something up about her that's just not really in the up and up. So it does make you wonder what's with this cop. Also, Wirtz, how he is very reluctant to do his job. You get the idea that he might also kind of be a little less than a good cop. How would I compare Gary Oldman's Jim Gordon with live-action Gordons such as Pat Hingle, Jeffrey Wright, Ben McKenzie, Neil Hamilton, J.K. Simmons? 3 top Gordons. Oldman, Hingle, Simmons. In that order. Hingle was great as Commissioner Gordon. He was a little less competent, as they say, because, well, that's how they did it in the Schumachers or the Schumacher cuts. But he was actually very good as a commissioner in the Burton cuts, or in the Burton movies. So we then see that the mob guys are dealing drugs with Scarecrow, and the Chechen is like, my business repeats customers. Now, that was also part of the special features, folks, where Crane escaped Arkham and he was still at large, and he was peddling his drugs all over Gotham City, where there was one kid who literally cut his eyelids off because he couldn't, or he didn't want to go to sleep, and also because every time he closed his eyes, he was seeing terrors from the fear toxin that Crane was peddling. So yeah, we see that Crane was still out there and ready to, or peddling his wares. Also, the guy that was testifying for Harvey Dent was also caught by Batman and was willing to give up Sal Maroni. So Sal Maroni was played brilliantly by Eric Roberts, by the way. So then we get the copycats with guns and the dogs and whatnot. And we see Batman is still in his original suit, but he has more gadgets, where he has the gadget that allows him to use extra strength, and he's able to bend the gun barrel, which was nice. It's funny that Dr. Jonathan Crane, a.k.a. Scarecrow, is the only villain that appears throughout the trilogy consistently. Yes, he is also in the third one, where he is finally, or he gets released again from Arkham, or I think it's actually Blackgate from this, or in this case. But yeah, he stopped. He's like, that's not him, because the copycats are shooting guns and whatnot. And then then the Batmobile comes in, and he's like, that's more like it. So he's trying to get out while Batman's trying to slice in, and a freaking dog rips into his suit, and so he throws the dog aside. And they do a clever beginning and after cut of the stopping of Scarecrow when Scarecrow is trying to drive away. When he drops down, you see the van coming forward, but then you see a very rapid cut that shows the collapsed vehicle, and Scarecrow is also out cold. So then, or that's how they do that, because honestly they can't show you, or they honestly can't show him crashing down in and doing it. It's actually a clever cut, which they do. And it's actually done very well, because honestly, if you're not doing it frame by frame, you can miss it. So then we let's see here. He's warning them not to come out, or he's like, don't let me catch you out here again. We're trying to help you. I don't need help. Not my diagnosis. And the guy is like, what gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me? I'm not wearing hockey pads. I love that. Because he's like, or also, if anybody is on social media like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, there's this guy that was called Bat Dad who put his own cut in that, where the guy's like, what gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me? Because I'm a guy wearing a kid's mask. It's freaking hilarious. So yeah, shout out to Bat Dad, man. His videos were so freaking hilarious when he did those little Bat Dad videos a few years ago. I don't know if he's still doing them nowadays though. So we then get another fun fact here. Christopher Nolan was not going to return for the sequels. Nolan is not known for doing sequels, so after Batman Begins, he was ready to step away, basically leaving the Joker card at the end of the first movie. I'll look into it. Double homicide, and has a taste for theatrics like you, and leaves a calling card. So basically that was all we would ever see of Batman from Christopher Nolan. Well, once he learned that the Joker pitch was coming, that got him to come in, but he wanted it done on his terms. He's like, okay, I will come in, but I want full control over this movie again. And they're like, okay, fine, sure, we'll do that. I mean, this movie was a very big hit, folks. As much as the comic book purists didn't like this, or didn't like the movie, I thought it was a very good one. How do you feel about people's neutral opinions? I'm guessing you meant neutral. Criticisms on the whole realistic Batman, where they remove all the fantasy comic book elements from the film to make a Batman in the real world. Honestly, Nolan did it well. The third movie is definitely a step down, but Nolan did it well in the first and second movie. And if you really do pay attention to the first movie, there is a little bit of fantasy element due to the Scarecrow. I mean, you see a freaking horse breathing out flames. You see a freaking face, or you see the mask maggoting up. You see what Batman looks like to Crane when Crane is under fear toxin. The demon. The Bat Demon. You see the Bat Demon flying over people when he's gliding over them and whatnot. So yeah, there was a fantasy element. It just was a little bit more grounded. And you know what? I honestly thought that the grounded take was actually a very good take, because if you look at it, sure, people give into vigilante helping the cops clean up the streets, but it's like, if you do look at it, in the real world, any vigilante justice harms a prosecution. So yeah. But honestly, I thought that it was actually very good, Neozok. So we then see that Gordon is investigating the bank, and Batman shows up, and it's like, he can't resist showing us his face. And they're trying to find out what's he hiding underneath that makeup. So apparently the Joker's been making heists and been getting away with it and not afraid to show his face. And so I like when he looks up, and then you see Ramirez is like, oh, then looks back. It's like, hey, can we get a minute, please, folks? Thank you. And we show, or when he shows the picture of the Joker to Batman, he's like, him again. And you now know that there is that this has been a thing between them. And so they finally found the bulk of the dirty cash, and they're like, well, what about this Joker character? One man or the entire mob? He can wait. And it's like, you may want to do some multitasking on this one, because the Joker is a lot more anarchic and crazy than the entire mafia, but they didn't know that yet. So one man or the entire mob. I'd go for, or anybody using the logical choice would go for the entire mob, because you're taking as much crime off the streets as possible. So yeah. And it proves to be the worst mistake that they can make. So then we see that Bruce Wayne lives in Wayne Tower in the penthouse, but spends most of his time in the improvised Bat Cave underneath one of the construction sites that is run by Wayne Enterprises. And he's sewing himself up, and he's got this big old welt on his arm that looks infected as hell. And it's like, what the hell happened to your arm? Did you get mauled by a tiger? It was a dog. Huh? It was a big dog. And then he's talking about the copycats. He's like, why don't you hire him and you take the weekend off? That wasn't exactly what I meant by, or what I meant when I said I wanted to inspire people. And then they start talking about the new district attorney and how things have improved. So Batman has made a difference. So that's good. Hey, Kamen Rider, good to see you. So we don't know if Harvey Dent can be trusted. So then we get the Dent court scene, and Sal Maroni is basically in there, and we have the hostile witness. He's like, with Carmine Falcone still in Arkham, somebody had to step up and take over the family business. Is that person in this courtroom here today? Can you point him out to us, please? You win, counselor. It was me. And he's like, I have a sworn statement from you that says this man, Salvatore Maroni, is the head of New York, or the head of the Falcone crime family. Maroni? He's just the fall guy. I'm the brains of the organization. And so somehow they didn't check this dude, and he has a freaking gun. And he's like, hostile? I'll show you hostile. Click. And I love the look on Aaron Eckhart's face. He's like, hmm? I mean, it's such a great moment, you know? You are live on my 36, or on my 3, I'm guessing 360. I got 20 minutes ago. Hey, good to hear, Hatersaurus. Thank you for dropping in. How would I compare Eckhart's Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, with other live-action Two-Faces, such as Billy D. Williams? Well, he never became Two-Face. Tommy Lee Jones, he was insane Two-Face. And Nicholas DeGusta, I'm unaware of a live-action Two-Face from him. Is he the Adam West Two-Face? It's video card. Oh, nice. Cool. Or 3060. Okay. I'm not much of a gamer anymore, Hatersaur, so I wouldn't know that. But honestly, Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face was, well, more grounded. And I thought he did a good job, where Tommy Lee Jones was more over-the-top insane, but also you could tell that he was very much bipolar with the insane side and the Dent side. Nicholas D'Augusta was the one from the Gotham TV show. But did he become Two-Face? I can't remember that if he did or not. I'd have to go back and watch that. But because all I remember from Gotham is the last episode and some of the other earlier seasons, and then they started getting into the political bullshit with the whole like make Gotham great again jab at Donald Trump during his presidency, and then also them going wickedly weird with the ladies taking over all female part of the city. Stupid shit. So then we are also introduced to reintroduced to Rachel Dawes, being recast by Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, and she plays it better than Katie Holmes. I can honestly say that she does play it a lot better than Katie Holmes, because Katie Holmes, as young as she, or as adult as she is, she just really does have a childlike quality to her. And a district attorney does not, or a childlike quality in a role of a district attorney just doesn't work very well. So I can honestly say that Gyllenhaal was better cast. And then they're meeting with Gordon, or Dent is meeting with Gordon, and he finds out that he has a stack full of cash, which is lightly irradiated bills, which was given to him by Batman. Bouncy Maggie in her first scene, right? So he actually, or freaking Dent, he's like, save it, Gordon. I want to meet him. He's like, policy is to arrest the vigilante known as Batman on site. Oh yeah, so what's with that floodlight on the MCU? Well, we have, or if you have problems with with lighting fixtures and stuff, take it up, or you should take it up with maintenance counselor. And so he gets the warrant, or he needs warrants for 5 banks. He also doesn't like that Gordon has his own personal unit, which was headed by cops that he investigated while at Internal Affairs. And I'd like to jab right back. He's like, if I were working with cops that you weren't investigating while you were making your name at IA, I would be working alone. I don't get points for being a political idealist. I have to do the best with what I have. So there are cops that were, basically almost every cop in Gotham was investigated by Harvey Dent while at IA. And a lot of them were pretty much known to be corrupt. However, there was not enough proof, like Wirtz and Ramirez. So then we are introduced, or he's like, well, I hear, or we all know that you're Gotham's White Knight. Well, I hear they have a new or a different name for me down at MCU. I wouldn't know about that. Which everybody knows what Dent's nickname was, Harvey Two-Face, from the comics. Fun fact: the reason Katie Holmes wasn't reprised, because she walked away to star in Mad Money. And that's actually one of the fun facts I have in my phone for the talking points. But thank you, Neozoic. We get the Chinese Lao Security Investments partnership with Wayne Enterprises to help with the diligence and the trust fund. It needs replenishing and whatnot, except that you see that Wayne is asleep, and also Mr. Reese is his money lawyer. So Mr. Fox played brilliantly by Morgan Freeman, is like, well, I'm pretty sure I speak for the board and Mr. Wayne and how excited we all are about this. So then he goes in and tells them, he's like, his revenue stream might be off the books, maybe even illegal. All right, cancel the deal. But you already knew. Just needed a closer look at their books. And so he needs a new suit because of the limitations of the other suit. So he's like, yeah, 3 buttons is a little 90s, Mr. Wayne. Not talking fashion so much as function. And he's like, you want to be able to turn your head. Because if you look at that suit plus the bat suit from Burton's movies, every time he goes like this, he can only do like this much movement. He can't really, he always has to turn like this in order to look around. So, yeah. I mean, it makes sense that you would want him to be able to turn his head, you know? And then we get the double date with Dent, Rachel, and Natasha from the Bolshoi Ballet with Bruce, and they're like, we could put 2 tables together. I'm not sure they'll let us. Well, they better. I own the place. Fucking Bruce Wayne has been throwing his money around and whatnot. Also, something that people don't realize is that all the damage that is caused by Batman, Wayne Enterprises foots the bill for the repair damage. So that's an interesting take that they don't have it set in the movie. However, they do explain it off screen, which is pretty interesting. So another fun fact, or before we get to the fun fact, we get this is a democracy, Harvey. Well, when the enemies were at the gates, the Romans would suspend democracy, and it's like, oh, you guys have no idea what you did or what you're talking about. Rome, folks, during the time before the Caesars, was a republic. Yeah, so it fell to become a democracy, and that's when shit went sideways because Caesar never gave up his power. He became an oligarch. How would you compare Rachel Dawes with other Batman movie love interests such as Catwoman, Merryweather, Pfeiffer, Hathaway, and Kravitz, Vicky Vale, Chase Meridian, Nicole Kidman, etc.? Honestly, I think that Rachel Dawes was an interesting choice. However, she did say, when you get rid of being Batman, we can be together. So there wasn't really much of a love interest there. I mean, it was present, yes, but nothing came of it anymore because also she dies. So we then have, or the other ones, well, Chase Meridian knew who he was through Kiss. And I absolutely love that. It's like, or the Val Kilmer movie was just insane, especially in that sequence, because it's like, I need you to understand. I understand. So then he turns away and smiles because, well, it's like, fine, great. Now I don't have to freaking hide it anymore. Vicky Vale was also a good one. She stuck with him, but then ended up taking off because she couldn't handle the dichotomy. Catwoman always will be Bruce Wayne's soulmate, so to speak, because she's traumatized like he is, so to speak. So it does work. And then Bruce is now sold on Harvey Dent when he drops the line, either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And he knows that the Batman can't always continue to clean up the streets. So Bruce Wayne's going to throw a fundraiser for him and whatnot. And, well, yeah. We then get to the next scene. But first, another fun fact. The theory of escalation is very prominent in this film. A cause and effect theme of whatever counter Batman brings, the Joker steps up more extreme, or becomes more extreme. I think that the Val Kilmer take on Batman Forever is underrated in my honest opinion. It really is. I like Burton's Keaton movies, though, better. Christian France, I think it was registered in the film in 2020. It deserves to be part of the National Film Registry. I'm guessing you mean Dark Knight. And good to see you, Christian. So, yes, the writing in this movie is actually very, very good. So we then have the Joker interrupting the mob family meeting, the group therapy session, because they're all talking to Lau, who is already on his way to Hong Kong, and he already moved the money from the banks because thanks to Maroni's well-placed sources, we've learned that the cops have indeed identified your banks and are planning to seize your money today. And so it's like you see the intercut between the banks being raided and all that was left was marked bills, so they knew that they were coming. What happened? Did your balls drop off? Yeah, exactly. It's like, honestly, without your permission, or rest assured your money is safe. And that's when the Joker comes in, and they're all like, give me one reason why I shouldn't have my boy here pull your head off. How about a magic trick? I'm going to make this pencil disappear. And then he puts that guy's head into the pencil through that dude's eye. So, yeah. Ta-da! It's gone. Yeah. And so we then see it's like, oh, and the suit, it wasn't cheap. You ought to know, you bought it. And so they hear the proposition. And he's like, now the reason why the Joker licks his lips a lot, that stuff that he does a lot, is because the prosthetics were coming off, and that was Heath Ledger trying to keep the damn things on. Because instead of the normal makeup and the chemical burns and whatnot, he instead has a Glasgow smile, which is the cuts that he has for the smile of a Joker. And so then he winds the clocks back a year. These cops and lawyers wouldn't dare cross any of you. Well, what happened? Did your balls drop off? You see, a guy like me, a freak, a guy like me. Look, I know why you will have your little group therapy sessions in broad daylight. I know why you're afraid to go out at night. The Batman. You see, Batman has shown Gotham your true colors, unfortunately. Dent, he's just the beginning. Oh, and as for the TV's so-called plan, Batman has no jurisdiction. He'll find him and make him squeal. I just love how he says that, because he's like, I know the squealers when I see one, man. And that's when Loud runs, and then he makes his pitch. He wants half of the mob's fortune. And I'm thinking to myself, yikes. So, yeah, half of the mob's fortune to kill the Batman. And they're like, you're crazy. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I mean, there you can actually see a small tick in the Joker. He doesn't like to be called crazy. Even though he is crazy, he doesn't like to be called crazy. And so when they go after, or when Michael Jai White goes after him, he opens up his jacket with a bunch of freaking grenades, and his thumb here has a ring connected to all of the grenades, or with a string connected to all the grenades. So all he has to do is this, and everybody dies. He's willing to kill himself. So yeah. Another fun fact that I actually had for this was Heath Ledger's performance was influenced by Alec from A Clockwork Orange, Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious, and the makeup and the meeting from Brandon Lee's The Crow. Yes. And so, yeah, I do. That was actually in my freaking talking points too. So thank you, Niyazaki. You did another one. So so yeah, we got Batman, or the Joker also has a freaking price put on his head. Sorry, folks, I'm a little bit distracted by outside forces.
Hello.
So yeah, Michael Jai White, playing Gamble, wants to put a price on the Joker's head, 500 grand for dead and $1 million alive. So it's like, you now want to be able to keep him alive, right? I really need to make time to watch The Crow. I heard Geek Detective Pierce. Get out of my channel. No, I'm just kidding. That movie is actually very good. It really is. That movie is like one of the best movies, comic book adaptation wise, that I've seen. Believe it or not, actually, it's my number 2 favorite comic book movie. Dread is number 1. Crow is number 2. Yeah. So Batman, Gordon, and Dent are on the roof of the MCU. They need Lau back, but the Chinese won't extradite a national under any circumstances. If I get him to you, can you get him to talk? I'll get him to sing. And it's like, ooh, we're going after the mob's life savings. Things will get ugly. I mean, I love the back and forth between Dent and Gordon. He's like, all that were left in the vault were marked bills. They knew we were coming. The second your office got involved, Dent, my office, you're down there with scum or with Wirtz and scum like Wirtz and Ramirez. Oh yeah, Gordon, I almost had your rookie cold on a racketeering beat. And it's like, well, shit. I guess Maroni saved her ass. So hold on, folks. Need a drink. Throat's getting a little dry. And so we then get the suit upgrade from Fox. And I love how he's like, you'll be lighter, faster, more agile. And he's playing with the freaking things, and he shoots the darts out. And perhaps you'd like to read the instructions first. That suit, or that thing, he's like, for high altitude jumps, you're going to need oxygen and an air mask. But more your usual requests, jumping out of the plane is straightforward. And what about getting back into the plane? I'd recommend a good travel agent without it landing. Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne. And they look into Skyhook, which was a CIA thing that they did to get their men out of, or their agents out of hotspots. And that's actually was something that they did. They had a plane with a hook, or with a Y hook, that would latch onto a balloon. So yeah, that was actually a thing. And so then we get, or we learn that the separation of the plates will make him more vulnerable to knives and gunfire. And he's like, how will it do it against dogs? We talking Rottweilers or Chihuahuas? Should do pretty good against cats, which was an unintended hint for the next movie. But we then see that him talking to Alfred, and he's like, we got one, a plane, or he can get it up and running within a week, and he takes cash. Have you thought of a crew? South Korean smugglers. They fly below radar the whole way, or below radar the whole way. Have you thought of an alibi? Oh yes. Alfred has, folks, in this Alfred, Michael Caine's Alfred, he has fun making Bruce Wayne out to look like an asshole. Because billionaire absconds with with entire Russian ballet on a freaking sea sail ship. Might be good against a rascal. Where can I get the upper armor, right? How would you rate Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises? Batman Begins is actually a very superior film to the last movie. Is the worst movie. In rate of quality, 2, 1, 3. Dark Knight begins, rises in that order of quality-wise. So then we get over to China, and or before we get over to China, we have the Joker's tale of how he got that, or how he got his scars, because he went to gamble, because gamble put a price on his head. So yeah, he decided to tackle that problem head on and kill Gamble with a Glasgow smile. And I love the story because you don't know whether or not he's telling the truth or not. He's like, you want to know how I got these scars? Well, my father was a drinker and a fiend. And one night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, and he says, why so serious? He comes at me with the knife. Why so serious? Puts the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face. And looks down at Gamble's right-hand man. Why so serious? Slight. It's like, holy shit. And the way that he recruits is very brutal, because he takes Gamble's surviving crew, and he's like, well, we're going to have tryouts. And he busts a pool stick. And he's like, make it fast. And then he lets them all fight amongst themselves. And it's like, if y'all, but the underlying threat is, if no one fights you, all three of you die. Testing loyalties. He wants the people who work for him to know that they are evil. So yeah. Another fun fact. Several actors wanted to play the Joker. Steve Carell, Adrian Brody, Paul Bettany. Robin Williams lobbied again and failed. And Ledger was chosen by Nolan, as Nolan wanted to work with him before, but he was unavailable. So yeah, now we're in China, in Hong Kong. And Morgan Freeman is there to meet with Lau, and they turn in his mobile for security reasons. And he gets a call while up talking with Lau. We do not allow cell phones in here. I always wonder why, you know? I mean, they say for security reasons, and he's like, I'm sorry, I forgot I had it. And so when he leaves, after he tells Lau that they couldn't continue doing business, he's like, or he tells him, or he goes to leave, and they're like, hey, sir. He pulls out a cell phone. He's like, mm-hmm. And so the other guy just puts the cell phone back. You'd think that might not be, or that might be innocuous, but it turns out that it's a EMP mapping device, sonar. Just like a submarine, Mr. Wayne, a submarine. It's unnerving, the Joker impression. I'm glad I can unnerve you. So then we see Batman getting Lau. Nice scene. Now, Batman on the side of all these buildings, that's actually Christian Bale. Yeah. He has no fear of heights. Guess what? You want to know what happened to me? Funny story. Okay, Kamen Rider. Yeah. Sure, I guess. And so I love how it's like Lau is back in freaking Gotham, and he's like, or there's this note, please deliver to Jim Gordon or Lieutenant Gordon. It's just hilarious. And Lau's just sleeping against the road or against the building. And so we then get Dent, or they're talking to Lau in interrogation, and he's like, I can't give you the money, but I can give you my clients, all of them. You're a glorified accountant. What could you possibly know that we would be able to charge? Like I said, I'm good with calculation. I handled all of their investments. One big pot. Well, that's enough to get the RICO charge. Now, RICO charge, folks, has been or is a big thing in the world today because, well, we know that a former president is being held under a RICO charge with his alleged co-conspirators. There is one big problem with a RICO case. You win a RICO case, your career is set. You lose a RICO case, your career is dead. Because in a RICO case, if you could charge all of them with a felony, or one of them with a felony, you can charge them all with it. However, if one is found innocent, they are all found innocent. If my knowledge on RICO cases is up to date. So yes, this was meant to bring down organized crime. It was specifically meant for, or the RICO cases were specifically meant for criminal conspiracy cases. So yes, they pooled all of their money together, so now they can be charged as a single corrupt unit. And so there's 549 criminals all at once. They literally arrested the mafia and as many of their associates as possible, thanks to Lau's testimony. And I love that. The judge is going over the list of stuff. She sees a Joker card, tosses it away, and is like, how did the defendants plead? And they're all freaking going nuts. And it's just like, all right, how do you feel about fandom battle of who is the best Joker, Mark Hamill versus Heath Ledger? I'll simply say this. Mark Hamill is the best voice Joker. Heath Ledger is the best live-action Joker. I mean, yes, I do like Jack Nicholson. However, Heath Ledger is the best Joker, in my opinion. He is an anarchist. You can't stop an anarchist. You can only prevent them from doing certain things here and there. You could stop them for a little bit, but they'll eventually get out. Also, Batman's unwillingness to kill, which he has no problem killing dogs or a couple of people or a couple of the Joker's men in this movie, which I will get to later. But yes, Ledger's better. Mark Hamill is a great voice for the Joker, sure, but he doesn't have the looks for a Joker, you know. So then we learn that the Joker is unleashed because, well, the mafia is like, put the word out. We hire the clown. He was right. We have to fix the real problem, Batman. And that's when Gordon comes in to arrest them all. He's like, you really want to embarrass me in front of my friends, Lieutenant? Oh, don't worry. They're coming too. I mean, they literally lock up 549 people, except for the mob bosses who make bail. And the mayor is concerned because it's like, even if you get convictions out of Cirillo, you're going to set a record at appeals for quickest kick in the ass. And he's like, not likely. I mean, the head guys make bail, sure. The small-time guys can't. They'll do 18 months or 6 months, or they'll do time, make deals that will lead to further arrests. Think of all you can do with 18 months of clean streets. Mr. Mayor, you can't possibly. No, get out. Both of you. Gordon and frickin' Loeb. And so he's talking with, and he's like, the public loves you. That's the whole reason why this might fly. But are you ready for this? Because anybody whose wallets are about to get lighter, and not just criminals, politicians, or anybody who comes after you, politicians, cops, and whatnot. And if they get anything on you, then those criminals are back on the street, followed swiftly by you and me. Boom! The jump scare in this, where a freaking corpse just smacks against the window in a bat suit. I mean, I can understand why the mayor just basically just drops out and doesn't come back in, where Harvey Dent goes up and is like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And I'm thinking to myself, that scared the piss out of me when I first saw it in the theater, because you didn't expect it, you know? So when it's like Batman dead and they get the body down, will the real Batman please stand up? Compare Heath's Joker to Joaquin's. Joaquin is, look, the Joker movie is a good movie. I will not dispute that. But that Joker is a mentally handicapped individual, not a clown prince of crime. So yeah, people loved him because he was doing everything that they all wanted to do to stand up against the rich who are leaving everybody else to rot. Fun fact, Joker's tape was directed by none other than Heath Ledger himself. There was a tape? Huh. Oh, yes, the tape with the media where he shows the death of Brian Douglas. And he's like, tell them your name. And are you the real Batman? No. Then why do you dress like him? I mean, I meant Adrian Brody was runner-up to being Joker. Oh. Interesting. But yeah, that is like, if you want order in Gotham, Batman must take off his mask and turn himself in. Oh, and every night he doesn't, people will die. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word. And then he gives his cackle, and it's great. And I almost thought I heard a freaking chainsaw coming out, but they didn't do that to him. And the reaction, so then we get the threat over the news, and then we get the fundraiser for Dent, and how freaking Bruce Wayne comes in via helicopter, and 3 babes that he's freaking tapping, and I'm thinking to myself, weren't you just going out with a Russian ballerina? It's like, dude, you are really an asshole. So, sorry. We then learned that the Joker card had 3 sets of DNA: Commissioner Loeb, Harvey Dent, and Judge Cirillo. Well, they're all targeted by corrupt cops. And Cirillo is handed an envelope, gets into a car, she gets blown up. Commissioner Loeb is seized by Gordon, but his drink was poisoned with either, or I think, dry ice or something akin to it. So, yeah. Or it could have been acid. So, yeah, his bourbon was laced with acid, I'm guessing. So he's dead. And when the Joker gets up into that room with Wirtz holding his badge up and being choked out, and he comes in, fires off the shotgun, and you see Alfred's expression. Michael Caine is seeing Heath Ledger for the first time in that scene, and he was scared shitless of Heath Ledger. Scared shitless. So, yeah, he forgot his lines. He had lines, and he forgot his lines because he was scared speechless of the Joker. And I love how the Joker, he's like, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment. I only have one question. Where is Harvey Dent? You know who Harvey is? You know where he is? You know, I'll settle for his loved ones." And then we get Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy playing one of those rich pricks that the Joker threatens with the knife. He's like, "You know, you remind me of my father. I hated my father." That's Patrick Leahy. That's the senator who is way too old to be a senator now and should retire. I mean, he's also in the 3rd movie as part of the Wayne Enterprises board. So, there's also the proposal between Dent and Rachel, and she doesn't have an answer right now. And I love, just don't tell me it's Wayne. That guy's a complete, and he just gets freaking sleepered by Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne is in Batman mode without his suit on. I love that when he's walking away, and the guy's like, "Hands up, pretty boy." Well, Wayne grabs the gun, shifts it into the guy, so he's like, "Ah!" And then pulls it, clocks him twice, and then just dismantles the gun. He sees 2 people freaking boinking on his bed, and it's like, "Oh, good, you have a panic room." oh, you got to be kidding me. Because he just goes in and without, he's like, look over, it's like, you guys are doing it on my bed. What the hell's wrong with you? You know? So then Rachel meets the Joker, and he has the other tale. Is it? Oh, you seem nervous. Is that the scars? I don't know how I got them. You see, I had a wife, beautiful, like you, who gambles and got in deep with the sharks. One day they carve her face. We don't have money for surgeries. I just want to see her smile again. I just want her to know that I don't care about the scars. And so I go home and I take a razor and I do this to myself. And you know what? She can't stand the sight of me. She leaves. And now I see the funny side. Now I'm always smiling. And then he gets kneed in the nuts and, hey, Keely, good to see you. And we're talking Dark Knight. And also, folks, make sure that you smash the like button. And so Batman comes in, starts fighting off the folks. And Joker realizes it's a wash really quick and grabs Maggie with the gun. Now, if you pay close attention to when he sticks the gun back to blow out the window, the gun is pointed like this. Not like this towards the window, but like this. So when he shoots, the bullet's going that way while the glass behind it breaks. And also when he says, well, you just take off your mask and show everybody in here who you are. You also can see Maggie shaking her head as she's also shaking her body to kind of hide the fact that she knows who Batman is and doesn't want him to do it. So, yeah. How would you compare Dark Knight's action scenes to with Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises? Greater in scale than the other two. However, I do like the fights in Batman Begins a little bit better because it really does a good job at showing Batman having to fight against not thugs, but very trained assassins. And then Ra's al Ghul himself. So, I love the whole thing. It's like, let her go. Or drop the gun and then let her go. And I love Joker. If you pay close attention, it's like, very poor choice of words. And he lets her go. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's chaotic. That's a joke, or that's the Joker. He would do that. Very poor choice of words, and he would let her go so that she falls to her death. And thank God Batman is able to save her. And so, yeah. We learned that Harvey was safe, and Bruce is trying to figure out the Joker. And Harvey Dent comes into the MCU, is like, where do you keep your trash? And he wants the Chinese guy to testify before he gets killed, you know? Smash the like button. Yes. Or after they demonetize your favorite channel. Well, chances are, yeah. So,
yeah.
We then see other casting possibilities for Harvey Dent, Mark Ruffalo, Matt Damon, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Phillippe, and with Aaron Eckhart chosen because he had more of the Robert Redford American hero quality about him. Also, Maggie Gyllenhaal was cast. Emily Blunt and Rachel McAdams were considered for the recast of, yes, I know, Ra's al Ghul. I've seen it pronounced two different ways. So, yes, Raish, I guess, is the way that people do it. Mea culpa. We then see that Bruce is trying to figure out the Joker. He's like, criminals aren't complicated, Alfred. We just need to know what he wants. He's like, perhaps you don't or understand this man. When I was I was in Rangoon working with the local militia, and they were trying to protect their caravans because their caravans were being raided by a bandit. And after several months, we never found anybody who traded with them. So a little while later, I found a little girl playing with a ruby the size of a tangerine. The bandit had been throwing them away. And he's like, well, then why steal them? Because, I don't know, maybe he thought it was good sport. Or maybe he's just wanted to steal them. The point is, some people aren't looking for anything logical like money or power or anything like that. Some people just want to watch the world burn. Can anyone imagine what if Heath Ledger's Joker was wreaking havoc in the DCAU and Mark Hamill's animated Joker was wreaking havoc in the Nolanverse? Every time I hear MCU, I know you refer to Major Crimes Unit. I expect Ledger's Joker to jump in and cause chaos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Right? Yeah. So we then get to two more victims of the Joker with the names Harvey Dent, and they grab and Batman shows the detective side of him by grabbing not ballistics off a shattered bullet, but fingerprints off of a shattered bullet. And then we get the threat to the mayor, and we also learn that the lawyer that's handling Bruce Wayne's diligence found out he's Batman, and he's like, I want $10 million a year, or every year for the rest of my life. So let me get this straight. You think that your client, one of the most wealthy, most powerful individuals, is secretly a vigilante who spends his night beating criminals to a pulp with his bare hands, and your plan is to blackmail this person? Good luck. I love how Reese reacts because his face is like so positive, so optimistic that he's gonna win this. And then as Morgan Freeman's telling it out, he's just looking terrified. How would you rank the villains from the Dark Knight trilogy from worst to best? Ra's al Ghul, Scarecrow, Joker, Two-Face, Bane, Talia, and Catwoman. Catwoman wasn't really a villain though. She was a chaotic neutral. Joker's best. Ra's al Ghul best, or second best. Two-Face, Scarecrow, Bane, and Talia. Yeah. Opinions on the fan theory that Josh Hartough's Coleman Reese is the Nolanverse's version of the Riddler due to he was smart to find out the identity of Bruce Wayne and somewhat of an ego. Interesting, but he never had a penchant for Riddle. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. So then we have Loeb's funeral, and the Joker's there. He stole the guns and the uniforms from the honor guard, and so to take the shot at the mayor. And you see it's okay with the bad grammar, I still get it. And we see the Joker with his Glasgow smile, but without the makeup, which is pretty cool to see Heath Ledger with the makeup a little bit, but with the Glasgow smile. So it's like, oh shit, there he is, you know. And he gets Gordon, but misses the mayor, so he's a little bit pissed. And David Dismalchian from Last Voyage of the Demeter and Ant-Man fame is the guy that gets caught, and the name Rachel Dawes is on his thing, which once Harvey Dent figures that out, holy crap. And also we see that Gordon's dead because Gordon got shot, and it's not good. And we learn that Maroni, or Batman, after the report of Gordon's death goes to his house, you see Barbara Gordon freaking out because, well, she got the bad news. And her son, Jimmy, is looking up, and he sees Batman lowering his head in shame because he couldn't protect Gordon. Also, Gordon was one of the last good cops in the place, except that his second in command there was also a good cop. It's just not as good as Gordon, you know? So then we see him go right after Maroney. Now, the woman who plays his wife, I do believe, is a Playboy bunny. From what I heard, I could be wrong. But yeah, Maroney's at a club and is like, "Can we go someplace quieter? We can't hear anybody talk, or we can't hear each other talk." What makes you think I want to hear you talk? It's like, what the fuck? So we then see that he takes Maroney out back, and Rachel was told to go to Bruce's penthouse, which is now the safest place in the city because the MCU doesn't have doesn't have Gordon's protection anymore, and there's a lot of corrupt cops there. So Dent goes rogue, kidnaps the guy who he thinks can get any news from about the Joker, and Maroney is being held by Batman. He's like, "I want the Joker." From one professional to another. Eric Roberts playing Sal Maroney, great choice, because Eric Roberts plays sleazy characters a lot. I loved him in The Expendables. I mean, he can play a villain. When he plays a villain, he plays a villain. And when he plays a mobster, he plays a mobster. And I love that. From one professional to another. If you're looking to scare somebody, pick a better spot. From this height, the fall won't kill me. I'm counting on it. Whoa! He's like, whoa! And he gets his knees busted from the landing. And he's kind of wheezing, and I love it. "Where is he?" "I don't know where he is. He found us. He must have friends." "Friends? Have you met this guy?" "Someone knows where he is." Nobody's going to tell you nothing. They're wise to your act. You got rules. The Joker, he doesn't have rules. You want this guy, you got one way. But you already know what that is. Just take off that mask and let him come find you. Or are you going to let even more people get killed while you make up your mind? So this is actually getting Batman to actually question, should I unmask to stop the Joker?
Oh my God.
Because the Joker is going on a killing spree and he can't. And he hasn't been stopped. So yeah, it does kind of create a problem, you know? Now, another fun fact before we go any further. Ledger's preparation for the Joker include isolation for weeks in a hotel room. Johnny Rotten and Sid Vicious were the inspiration, or were a inspiration. Clockwork Orange, Alex from A Clockwork Orange was also an inspiration. And the voice inspiration of Tom Waits. Ledger also had a infamous Joker diary that gave insights into his mind as he was looking to find the mind of the Joker. So that is interesting. I actually wish I could read that, you know, kind of get a little bit into seeing where Heath Ledger went so that he could do this Joker, because, man, he played it so freaking well, you know? And so then Batman catches Dent doing the flipping, and it's like, you leave a man's life to chance? Not exactly. He's always saying that. Or heads, I'll take it. Or I wouldn't leave something like that up to chance. I don't. I make my own luck. It's a two-headed coin. Not everybody knows that. And so Bruce Wayne gives it to him straight. He's like, you are the symbol of hope that I can never be. Your stand against organized crime is the first legitimate ray of light Gotham has had in decades. If anyone saw this, all of that would be undone. All the criminals you pulled off the street would be released, and Jim Gordon will have died for nothing. Because if a person, or if a cop or a DA is shown to be corrupt, every single case they have tried, every single arrest they have made, all of it has to go for retrial. Folks, that's how much the law matters. You cannot afford to skip on law enforcement. You can't afford to cut corners. You can't become a dirty cop. If you do, your record is tainted, and so are all the cases that you have tried. So movies like Training Day with Denzel Washington, who played a corrupt, dirty cop, they hid his corruption. The news said he was serving a high-risk warrant when he died. He was killed by the Russians. So yes, his dirty deeds had to be hidden by the dirtier cops in the force so that all the felony callers he made wouldn't get undone. Being a dirty cop is not worth it because you are doing more harm than good. You get caught. Every arrest you made is now put under question. So yes, it is really tragic what has to happen at the end of this movie. So Batman's like, nobody else is going to die because of me. Gotham's in your hands. You can't give in. You can't give in. And you see that Dent has that little bit of darkness even before he becomes Two-Face. He still has a little bit of that darkness. Fun fact, Josh Lucas, Ryan Phillippe, Mark Ruffalo, and Matt Damon were originally cast choices for Harvey Dent. Yep. Gave that fun fact earlier. And so then we see a letter is written for Bruce when he doesn't turn himself in. And that scene, the press conference scene, is actually very well done because Aaron Eckhart's right. Should we give in to a terrorist's demands? We've been happy to let the Batman clean up our streets until now. Well, things are worse than ever. Yeah, we're doing this because we're scared. And the night is darkest just before the dawn. And I promise you, the dawn is coming. That is such a great read line. And you do see that Bruce Wayne is listening in on all of this. And when they say take the Batman in custody, he goes to step forward. And that's when Aaron Eckhart is, I am the Batman. And it's like, what? It is such a great freaking twist. Is like, what the hell are you doing? So immediately, because, well, Bruce Wayne is the greatest detective, he immediately figures it out. He's giving me a chance to nail the Joker right now. I'm going to take it. He doesn't explain it. And when Rachel goes to say goodbye to Alfred, she leaves a letter to him, or to Bruce. Can you give this to him when the time is right? How will I know? It's not sealed. So, yeah. She goes to Harvey, and he flips her the coin. And he's like, or she's like, you can't, this is your life. You can't leave something like that to chance. I'm not. And then she flips the coin from this side to another side that's untainted. Then she's like, you make your own luck. Now, folks, this is the same design as the Dark Knight. And I've used this coin so much that, yes, you could see the scratches on it, but also this side was originally black to show the char and damage. So instead of having the slices on it, it was charred down. And the slices are also on this one to let it know which side is the dark or bad side and whatnot. They have so many different variations of the Liberty double-headed coin because they have one that has this face, and then on the back side, it's a skull face Liberty. I actually want to get one of those, but I am saving my money for other things right now, namely a new laptop. So we then get to the chase, where Harvey Dent is put in an armored vehicle, and there's some great cinematography here. When you see that the slaughter is the best medicine, truck comes up and they're just trying to shoot at, or they're shooting at the SWAT vehicle. He's like, these things are made for that, right? They're going to need something a lot stronger to get through this. Yeah, except that the shotgun was piercing through the metal. So you shoot that thing with enough shotgun shells, you're definitely going to start making it through with normal pistol bullets. And also, the route has this really freaking scared shitless co-pilot for the... I mean, this was some of the worst acting. This dude is scared shitless. He's like, hope you got some moves on you, pal. So, obstruction ahead, plus the Joker kills a couple of cops. Or he kills one cop and then he kills another cop. Plus, we then see that the Batman is on his way. Now, when I say that the Batman had no problem killing some of the Joker's men, there was a garbage truck guy that was keeping the SWAT vehicle from escaping. Well, when Batman comes in and the SWAT truck veers, or using the tumbler to go into the other, or go into the trash truck, well, the trash truck goes up and crushes the entire front cab. That killed that driver. So yeah, also, anybody who was in the back cab of the big truck also died when that sucker got flipped over, because there was a bunch of people in there to help with the shooting and whatnot. So yeah, that was also done for real, folks. That wasn't a digital job. When that truck gets flipped in the climax of the scene, that was a real flip. So we then get the apprehension of the Joker and the Bat Pod, because the Batman sacrificed the tumbler to save Dent from an RPG, and we get the Bat Pod, which is nice. Now, one of the cool things about the sound design for the Bat Pod is that it's always up gearing. It's always revving upward. So when they change it, or when they cut, because they have to do some limited cuts for it, because it's always just going, it's going higher pitch as it goes. So when they cut away, they have to cut back. It's now at a lower pitch to go up higher and higher and higher. So that is how they did the Bat Pod, which honestly, it was also very well done, because it was a functional thing as well. The two front wheels become a Bat Pod. Interesting. And then we learned that, in the immortal words of Odin from OMB Reviews, Gordon's alive! Yeah, because they're about to take off the mask, and, well, frickin' Joker's like, spits on his own guy, and then he goes to knife Batman. That's when Gordon shows up, and he's like, could you please just give me a minute? Coin's not tainted yet. It gets tainted in the explosion. Yes. I did like Christopher Nolan's usage on practical effects rather than CGI digital. Exactly. I mean, there were some stuff that they had to use digital for they do have some digital that they did for Batman Begins, and this one even, as well as Rises, but this movie had a better or good budget with mostly practical effects. So then we see the Joker's in jail, and they're taking off, or they're emptying his pockets. Knife, 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 apple peeler, knife, knife, apple peeler. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, I love that. They're putting knives down, knife down, apple peeler, and the guy looks twice at it. He's like turning it in his hand. He's like, okay. And then the Joker, or Gordon, comes in. He's like, step away, all of you. I don't want anything his mob lawyer can use. You understand? And so the mayor comes in. He's like, back from the dead. I couldn't allow my family to be put in danger. And so he's like, so what do we got? Nothing. No name, no aliases, nothing. Or nothing on fingerprints, nothing in his pockets but knives and lint. No name, no other aliases. Get some rest, Gordon. The clown will keep. Tomorrow you take the big job. You don't get any say in the matter. Commissioner Gordon. He gets promoted on the spot for nailing the Joker. And so yeah. Now, as the Joker is as Gordon's heading home, some other people are bringing other men or Joker's men in, and there's this fat guy who doesn't feel so good. His insides hurt. And when you see the Joker go like, looking like, oh, and turning away, okay, what does the Joker know? You know? Because the Joker has to know something with the way he reacted. Well, the guy eventually starts to collapse after the infamous and legendary interrogation. Folks, I could keep doing the Joker stuff all day, but this would take forever if I did. So that interrogation where Gordon is interrogating him first, and then he's like, where is Harvey Dent? What's the time? What difference does that make? Well, depending on the time, he may be in one place or several. If we're going to play games, I'm going to need a cup of coffee. Oh, the good cop, bad cop routine. Now, another fun fact, Patton Oswalt, who is a piece of shit in real life, actually came up with a thesis of the Joker's background, military psychoanalysis background, and basically he lost his mind, but he still retained a lot of his skill. So that was also interesting. So then we get the Batman Joker face-off interrogation, and the very great speech of the Joker. It's like, don't talk like one of them. You're not, even if you'd like to be. To them, you're just a freak, like me. They need you now, but when they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper. You see, their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. Drop at a little bit of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. You see, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. And the thing is, look at what's going on in today's society. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. Riots, burning cities, looting. Because the economy sucks under a certain person right now. So, well, enough of that interrogation. It's not going very well. He's like, you have all these rules and you think they'll save you. I only have one rule. Well, that's the rule you'll have to break to realize the truth, which is the only logical way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight you're going to break your one rule. Fun fact, Joker clapping was not part of the original filming, but decided to include it. Yeah. And there's two different cuts of it. One where he's clapping like this, and one where he's clapping like this. They went with this for the movie. However, for the trailer, they went like this. Or they went for the one where he was clapping like this when they were doing the theme for the trailer. So we then get the failed rescue where Dent is at 250 52nd Street. And she's at Avenue X on Cicero. Well, except that it was a switcheroo. Now, you know that Wirtz picked up Dent when he got saved, and he was supposed to drop him off at home. He never made it home. So, right then and there, it's like, yeah, if Harvey Dent never made it home, Wirtz was there to bring him home. Why isn't Wirtz in handcuffs? That's my question. And you also can see that he's like, I have a date with a very angry girlfriend. And you see the look on Ramirez's face when he's getting driven off. And you see a very guilty look on her face because she knows what's going to happen as well. And then we see that Harvey tips himself over and one of the drums gets tipped over with a bunch of fuel getting on his face. And, well, we all learn what happens. she was going to say yes to the marriage proposal, but she ends up getting blown up. And it turns out that the commissioner arrived there for her, and Batman, who was going after Rachel, arrives for Dent. And he was pissed off that she didn't get saved. So, yeah, half his face was blown half to hell. And we get a very mummy-ish kind of look. And she gets killed. And I like how when you hear the read over from Rachel for the note that Alfred's reading, because he wanted to know what it was in or what it said before he gives it to Bruce, he realizes this will destroy Bruce. This will destroy Bruce. But he still is going to bring it to him because, well, he needs to. Well, he then realizes that Bruce is broken up, and he's like, she was going to wait for me. How Alfred Dent doesn't know. He can never know. That's when Alfred takes the note. He's like, what's that? It can wait. And so he then leaves Bruce to his pain. And that's when also Harvey Dent wakes up. He sees the coin and the charred side of it, realizing Rachel wasn't or didn't make it. So, yeah, he ends up screaming and ripping off his bandage. And, well, that's when Reese decides to turn in the Batman because he can no longer keep quiet about it. He knows the truth. He can't keep quiet. And, let's see here. Lau was also taken by the Joker because the Joker planned to be caught and he wanted to be locked up in the MCU. So, another fun fact, original designs for the Joker were changed from the chemical to the Glasgow smile. The original look for Two-Face had a more fleshier look, and he was also completely bald, which, thank God, they changed that. They also had him more charred as well, more blackened char over the damaged face, and they lessened that for the final bit of the movie, or for the final look of the movie. Now, Coleman Reese threats out the Batman, and Gordon meets with Dent. So Dent tells me, he's like, you remember that name that y'all have from back when I was at Internal Affairs? What was it, Gordon? Say it. Say it! Two-Face, Harvey Two-Face. And then you see quickly that they cut away from the reveal, and then they cut back to him when he's turning back away. And so it's like, why would you listen to me now? He's like, I'm sorry, Harvey. No, you're not. Not yet. I mean, at this point, Harvey Dent's just fucking done. He doesn't give a shit. Harvey Dent has had his break. He's had his psychotic break. So, let's see here. Maroni then turns in the Joker to Gordon, where he'll be, and it's like, he's like, we're gonna, Lau, we need him alive, the Joker, either way. Even freaking Gordon's willing to say, you know what, if you can kill it, or if the Joker has to die, fine, kill him. So then we get the chase, and where the threat of the Joker, it's like, if Coleman Reese isn't dead in 60 minutes, then I blow up a hospital. Immediately, Bruce Wayne is like, I want you plugged into Gordon's men, looking for hospital admissions of their families. Because he realizes that the closest person to Reese would be the cops. And he's like, would you be taking the Bat Pod, sir? During the day, Alfred? Not very subtle. The Lamborghini, then. Much more subtle. Now, the Lamborghini that they use actually has a name in Italian that means bat, which is pretty fun. So he's recognizing all the different cops, and then he's like, and a patrolman, I don't know. So then we learn that this Berg guy is about to blow away Reese in the car, and a trucker is about to slam into the motorcade, and Bruce Wayne has to play dumb. He's like, that was a very brave thing that you did, trying to catch the light. You weren't protecting the van. Why? Who's in it? And it's one of his lawyers. And when he looks at Bruce gives him a nod. It's like, you better keep your fucking mouth shut. But during this time, the Joker is turning Dent loose. He's unplugging Dent from his morals, essentially. He is playing with Dent's mind like putty. And he's basically explaining himself to Dent. Do I really look like a man or a guy with a plan? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. I just do things. And when you look at that kind of explanation, you can't help but understand that this dude's twisted logic makes sense. These people have plans. Gordon's got plans. Plans. The mayor's got plans. My job, or what I do, is to show them how pathetic their attempts at control it really is. I mean, you were a schemer. You had plans, and look where that got you. I just did what I do best. I took your plan and I turned it on itself. Look what I did to this city with few drums of gasoline and a couple of bullets. Now, if I talk about, then he basically gives the whole anarchy thing, introduce a little anarchy, upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. And you know the best thing about chaos? It's fair. That's what tips Harvey over. That is what tips Harvey from slightly still moral to over the edge. It is no longer Harvey Dent and Two-Face now. It's no longer the dichotomy even. He is now fully Two-Face in this case. He is just fully gone dark now. There is no battling mind like in the animated series where Harvey and Two-Face would flip the coin to be judgmental and jury. Yes, he does flip the coin, but he's still planning on, or he still wants to kill. He still wants those to pay who wronged him. So yeah, now that he's been turned loose, the hospital blows up. Great IMAX moment. And I love the freaking stick walk that he just kind of just walking out there, kind of waddling like a penguin and sticking his hands up. And, well, it doesn't go up all the way. So he's kind of banging it. And that originally was not planned. The whole thing was supposed to go up, but didn't. So there was a delayed explosion. So I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So that was all improvised by Heath Ledger, from what I hear. I could be wrong. And so then we get even further in, and they have patient list roll call, and Harvey Dent's gone missing. Mike Engel from Gotham, or from that Gotham GTN, he somehow turned up at the hospital. And I'm thinking to myself, what? How? He was covering the Reese thing, but then I guess he decided to go to the hospital. So I don't understand why he went to the hospital, but he ends up getting caught by the Joker in them. So now Dent is on the loose, or Dent is loose on the corrupt, and we then get the demand to get out of Gotham. Well, Dent is now out there, and he finds Wirtz. And you see him snap at Wirtz when he's like, must have been Maroni's men. Shut up. You're telling me you're going to protect the other traitor in Gordon's unit? I don't know. They never told me. Look, Dent, I swear to God, I didn't know what they were going to do to you. Huh. That's funny. Because I don't know what's going to happen to you either. And then he turns it on the table, and it comes up dark, and he blows away Wirtz. And there's also a break-in at the R&D department, which Fox is investigating, which Batman laid out a sonar relay. And he's like, beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful, unethical, dangerous. You took my sonar concept and routed it to every cell phone in Gotham, with half the phones in Gotham feeding you sonar. You can image all of Gotham. This is wrong. I need to find this man, Lucius. At what cost? This is null key encrypted. Only one person can use it. This is too much power for one person. That's why I gave it to you. What? I mean, I love Morgan Freeman acting in this. He's like, spying on 30 million people isn't part of my job description. And he's like, or he tells him that he'll help him this one time. Murcielago? What does that mean, Murcielago? Vanya. And so he tells him, I'll help you this one time, but consider this my resignation. As long as this thing is at Wayne Enterprises, I won't be. When you're done, type in your name. And so we then see that the ferries are part of the Joker's plan, where inmates are put on one ferry and civilians on the other. And Dent sets up Gordon's family with Ramirez. So the shot between Ramirez and Dent. I mean, it's like, you didn't know what they were gonna do. You're the second cop to say that to me. What exactly did you think they were gonna do? And when she tries reasoning with him with her pity story, he's like, don't. Nothing you say is going to get or sway him. So he flips his coin, and it turns out to be the positive aspect. You live to fight another day, author. He grabs the coin and then just knocks her out, or smacks her out after Ramirez sets up Barbara to go to 250 52nd Street. So then we get to another fun fact. Filming locations included mostly Chicago, Pinewood Studios in the UK, the Fantasy Power Station in London, and Hong Kong. So the Fantasy Power Station, I'm guessing, is where they shot 250 52nd Street scenes. The climax of the film. The second climax, which is the Two-Face sequence with Gordon and Batman. So now Dent finds Maroni. Now, I like when you see Maroni is going around the car, you see one of his men looking in the thing, and then you see Two-Face grab him. And as Maroni's getting in the car, you also see Two-Face get into the car through the mirror, which is nice. And he's like, don't stop for cop, or don't stop for lights, cops, nothing. And then he sees that, well, Dent's in there. He's like, going to join your wife? And he reveals his face. Do you love her? Yes. You ever wondered what it'd be like to listen to her die? Look, take it up with the Joker. He killed your woman. He made you like this. The Joker's just a mad dog. I want whoever let him off the leash. So I took care of Wirtz. Who's the other person you have in Gordon's unit? Must have been somebody she trusted who picked up Rachel. Look, if I tell you, will you let me go? Can't hurt your chances. It was Ramirez. So he cocks the gun. But you said I said it couldn't hurt your chances. Great writing there, folks. So he flips the coin. You're a lucky man. And, well, you think now that Maroni might be able to slide. Does a second flip. Dark side. He's not. Who? Seatbelt on. Your driver. Boom. Love that scene. Because it shows that if he can't get his way there with Maroni, he can still try to kill him another way. Indirectly. Morgan Freeman is the perfect choice as Lucius Fox. Yes, he is. Now, what does Murcielago mean, Vanya? I'm still kind of curious on that. But yes, Lucius Fox is best. And so they find the Joker at the Pruitt building, and we get the divide between Batman and Gordon. Gordon is unaware that Harvey Dent went after his family until Batman is in the Pruitt building trying to stop the snipers from shooting the hostages over the clowns, because the clowns are the hostages and the doctors are the clowns. So yeah, the Joker is incredibly smart there with the bait and switch. It's like, why would he pick a building with such large windows? It's not that simple. With the Joker, it never is. Yeah, they're told to stand up, and if they try to do anything, they can't scream. Their mouths are taped shut, and the weapons are taped to their damn hands. Also, another great thing that was done earlier is the putty gun, or the putty explosive rifle, which is a pretty cool thing too when you think about it, is used in this scene and the Hong Kong scene. Now, Fox or Batman is using the sonar thing to keep an eye on all the things going on. I like that when the SWAT team finally gets a bead on him, it's like, drop the officer. If you don't, we'll shoot. He then kicks all of them over the side, which is nice. And it's like, we got him. He's out of the game. And it's like, the fuck you do? So everybody on the ferries are freaking out because they think that the inmates are going to blow them up, and the inmates think, or everybody on the inmate thing thinks that the other people are going to blow them up. So if they don't blow each other up by midnight, well, both of them end up going up. And then there's paper ballots. And I like how this big guy or the actor who comes in with the funky eye, I think he's now dead, but he played this role so freaking well. He's like, you don't know how to take a life, or you don't want to die, but you've never taken a life. Give it to me. These men will kill you and take it anyway. Give it to me, and I'll do what you should have done or should have did 10 minutes ago. So he gives it to the guy. He throws it out the window. He understands we're inmates. We broke the law. Our time is over. They decide to kill us, fine. But that doesn't happen. And the Joker gets a bead on Batman. It's after midnight. You want to know how I got these scars? No, but I know how you got these. The name, or the okay, the Lamborghini Murcielago. Okay, it means bat. Okay, thank you, Vanya. Now, the scene up in the Pruitt building is very well done because you're handling all of these separate bits, cutting back and forth. Nolan does a very good job with all of that. And so, yes, there is great objective quality to that film, or to that sequence. So when he finally throws the Joker off the edge, the Joker just starts laughing, which is a direct nod to Jack Nicholson laughing death. But it turns out that he's not so lucky because Batman ropes him up. And so he's like, oh, you just couldn't let me go, could you? You see, this is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. I think we're just destined to do this forever. You'll be in a padded cell forever. Maybe we can share one. Hell, they'll be doubling up the rate these inhabitants keep losing their minds. This city just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good until their spirit breaks completely. Until they get a good look at the real Harvey Dent and all the good he's done. What did you do? I took Gotham's White Knight and I brought him down to our level. It wasn't hard. Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. And so now he realizes that, oh shit, Dent has been unleashed. And so we get to the secondary climax. A movie with two major climaxes, folks. The Joker climax and the Two-Face climax. Two-Face, at this point, is not Harvey Dent anymore. He responds to Harvey, yes, but he's not Harvey anymore. At this point, he just wants what's fair. I lost everything. Gordon should lose everything. And it's like, so who do you love most? Is it your wife, your daughter? Oh, your son. Okay, you responded more vehemently to your son being, or having a gun on him. Well, that's when Batman shows up. He's like, you don't want to hurt the boy, Harvey. It's not about what I want. It's about what's fair. And when he says this, you see the burn side of his face, and you see how loud or how wide his mouth can actually be. And it's like, holy shit, man. It's like, you thought we could be decent men in an indecent time, but you were wrong. The world is cruel, and the only morality in a cruel place or in a cruel world is chance. Unbiased, unprejudiced, fair. His son has the same chance she had, 50-50. What happened to Rachel wasn't chance. We decided to act, we three. Then why was it me who was the only one who lost everything? It wasn't. The Joker chose me because you were the best of us. He wanted to prove that somebody as good as you could fall. And he was right. You're the one pointing the gun, Harvey, so point it at the people responsible. Fair enough. You first. Flip. Darkseid shoots Batman. My turn. Flip. Lightside doesn't shoot himself. Say goodbye or tell your boy it's going to be all right, Gordon. Lie. Like I lied. It's going to be all right, son. Flip. Oh, interrupted by Batman, who drags both Harvey and the boy over the edge, causing the mom to flip out. But he manages to grab the boy at the last second and get him up to Gordon before he falls because he also got gut shot. So then they go down, and Gordon's about to call it in, but Batman stops him. And the darkest part of the entire movie, which is the deal with the devil. Everything, or the Joker won. The Joker took the best of us and tore him down. Harvey's prosecution, everything he stood for, undone. Whatever chance you gave us to save this city dies with Harvey's reputation. We bet it all on him. People will lose hope. They won't. They must never know what he did. That kind of sacrifice, or when you have a city full of corrupt, or a city full of the corrupt, and you have this legitimate ray of light that has just been, or that is now in danger of being snuffed out, the lie has to be maintained. Is there justification behind this? Yes. You have Gotham as cleaned up as you can get it right now. And you are asking one family to go along with a lie that will eat at them for years. 5 dead, 2 of them cops. You can't sweep that, no. But the Joker cannot win. And Gotham needs its true hero. And so he recites the same thing that Harvey said in the restaurant. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I can do those things because I'm not a hero, not like Dent. And Gordon doesn't want to do this. He's like, I killed those people. That's what I can be. No, you can't. You're not. I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be. Call it in. And then you see the future of what's going on. The funeral procession for Harvey Dent and the destruction of the bat signal. And you hear, or you then also see that Alfred is burning the note that Rachel set or wanted Bruce to read. Because she chose Harvey Dent over Bruce. Because she realized that Bruce would never need or will never be without Batman. Opinions on the line and theme of you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That is the tale of the corrupt. Those who are or who become corrupt were heroic at one time. But when they start on their path of corruption, they get in too deep. They can't stop. And so that is the tale of the corrupt. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that is basically the tale of what being corrupt can do to yourself. But it also works for Batman because Batman is not being the hero. He is being something more. He is being whatever Gotham requires him to be, whether it be a patsy for a murder he didn't commit, or for murders he didn't commit, or being a hero that Gotham needs. Because during the procession, during the funeral for Harvey, a hero, not the one that we needed, not the one that we wanted, but the one that we needed, or not the one we deserved, but the one we needed, and then, or not the one we needed, but the one we deserved. Nothing less than a knight shining. And then when Batman has to run, and little Jimmy's asking, why is he running? Because we need to chase him. He didn't do anything wrong, because he's the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. He flips the script on that from what he says later during Harvey's funeral. He is a silent, because he can take it, because he's not a hero. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight. And that is how they end the film, where he is driving away from the cops on his bat pod and disappears into the night, essentially. Now, folks, this movie, objectively speaking, is a 9 out of 10. There are small little inconsistencies. There are problems with the script. Is the major continuity of how did frickin' Mike Engel get to the goddamn hospital? There are problems, yes. But objectively speaking, those problems are very much overlooked when you see the quality of the movie. Now, yes, a lot of people say that this movie only got as big as it did because Heath Ledger was dead or died. And that's not, or while yes, it is sad that Heath Ledger died, this wasn't Heath Ledger's last movie. The Emporium of Dr. Parnassus was his last movie. And so then but this movie, you have a great story. You have what amounts to Batman going up against the Joker, an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. No matter what happens, this is a destined battle of eternity. Now, I've only seen one other villain that was as destructive as the Joker, but he was more global, and that is the crazy Jason Momoa villain from Fast X. I recently saw Fast X last night, and I gotta say that movie is Sharknado stupid when it comes to the logic in that movie. But Jason Momoa's character is very much like Heath Ledger's Joker. He is an unstoppable force, and the rest of them are the immovable object. However, he's proving that he can move that immovable object. Where in this movie, the Joker is the immovable object, where Batman is the unstoppable force. Could have just blamed Harvey's kills on the Joker. Except how can you blame the Joker? I mean, sure, you could blame it on the Joker, but the Joker was apprehended, so how do you explain the death of Harvey Dent, Vanya? I mean, sure, you could blame the Joker, but yeah, you also gotta somehow explain how Harvey Dent ended up dead at 250 52nd Street when the Joker was known by many cops at the time to have been in police custody. How do you explain it? And by the way, forensics would show that Harvey Dent was dead after the events of the Pruitt building. So there's no way that they could have blamed it on her. But anyway, subjectively speaking, this movie is a 10 out of 10. I fully enjoy this movie. moviegoer, this movie keeps you interested. It's a 10 out of 10. Next week is a movie of four brothers versus a ninja clan versus Batman. It's Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, folks. And I'm trying to find a silhouette to put in with the Batman silhouette for the thumbnails. I'm having a hard time doing that one because I haven't found any sort of like Batman silhouette kind of theme for the Ninja Turtles where they're cloaked in shadow, but you could see the colors of their bandanas. Or if I can actually incorporate that, I'm trying my best to find it, but I can't. But if anybody knows anybody who could do that, that'd be great. Because otherwise, I'll just have to go with what I got, and what I got isn't really that good. But I got a week to figure it out. Also, tonight I will be on the Barroom podcast with Society Reviews and the rest of the Barroom crew. Wednesday night I will be on Ones and Twos with Mara. We're talking Evil Dead. And Thursday I'm talking Dracula Untold. So that will be Thursday night on my channel. And Sunday night, we will be doing the Captain Marvel discussion on my channel for MCU Sundays. And thank you to Neozoic. Thank you so much. To Vanya, Kamen Rider, Keely, Hatersaurus. And y'all have a great day. I believe there was other people in here as well. Geek Detective Pierce. Thank you for stopping in. Kamen Rider, thank you for stopping in. Christopher Freights, thank you for stopping in. Kate, thank you for stopping in. Nerd with a Cigar. All great people, folks. Make sure you definitely sub to each other, whether you're content creators or not. All great people. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. This has been Orange Hat Reviews, and y'all have a wonderful day, and always remember, stay humble.